Salute. So, my first thoughts, fresh off of the Lomachenko versus Jermaine Ortiz fight. Just finished watching it. Way late, Had to get around to watching it. But I could sit down and focus and watch the whole thing, from the first round to the 12th rounds. And this was one of those fights where you really had to stay engaged and stay focused in, because it was a lot of close competitive ebbs and flows, and it was an intricate fight, So you couldn't let your mind wander off into worrying about bills or whatever issues, or just, thoughts. You had to really stay locked into this fight. Because first of all, I had already been kind of persuaded from other people's opinions of this fight before I watched it. I watched some other reactions and thoughts, and then I already watched the highlights, and then I had to kind of sat and watch the fight, but I was a little too preoccupied, so I only could see highlight moments. This time I just sat and watched it. The only thing I wish I would have done differently is turn down the volume so I didn't have to listen to the commentation, because I just sometimes Timothy Bradley, But my thoughts, boxing nocturnal thoughts on this fight. Like I said, stayed laser focused in on the fight, and it was a close competitive fight. Now, going into this fight, we was already hearing certain things like, this is a sparring partner. People was talking about like this is an easy fight, a tune-up fight and I think some people really thought that we was going to see a spectacular performance from Lomachenko with some lopsided, dominated, even a knockout type of a performance. And so I really didn't have those expectations. I didn't know a lot about Ortiz. I knew he fought like maybe Jamel Herring or something like that, but I didn't go do my research to find out what type of fighter he was. So watching him fight, for one thing, off the rip, you could just notice that he was strong and big and athletic, and that he had some boxing fundamentals down. Some people were saying he kind of remind of a little bit of a combination of Shakur and a little bit of Haney thrown in there. To me, I seen a little bit of, honestly, just on the surface when I'm looking at him, he just kind of remind me of a Rolly Romero. I think he's Puerto Rican and Dominican Republican descent, something like that. But just genetically, you can tell he's big and strong, and he's fast. But he can box and he got some hands. Plus, if he's familiar with Lomachenko, he sparred with him, then he's not going to be enamored going into the fight. He's already kind of familiar and comfortable, right? So I don't factor in the whole sparring partner factor. Like, I can factor that in a little bit more with the Helenius versus Deontay Wilder, but not so as to see him getting knocked out like that in the first round. So I kind of X out the whole. You always know in boxing, you're going to come across these people going to have experience fighting each other in the amateurs or in sparring. You had David Benavidez was sparring Sean Porter when Sean Porter was about to fight Errol Spence. You know what I'm saying? We know Larry Holmes sparred with Muhammad Ali. We know that Jamel Herring sparred with Shakur Stevenson. So it don't really determine the outcome of the fight just because you were sparring partners. But it does sometimes bring about, some familiarity. I know I screwed that word up, right? But either way it goes, the first 4 rounds, I feel like Ortiz handled those rounds. In the second and third round, you could see Lomachenko trying to turn it, but Ortiz was holding, He was holding it down. He did his thing in the first 4 rounds, where I feel like he took those rounds. But there were some times in the second and third round where Lomachenko had his moments. The 5th round, sort of the same thing. It almost broke even. There's a lot of close swing rounds in there, but I think Ortiz was still holding up pretty strong. Youth on his side, he got some experience. He threw off these little quick combinations. He wasn't just loading up big punches. every single time. You know, he had caused some damage to Lomachenko early in the first round with like a cuffing punch and scraped him with his tape, but he followed through with a lot of good hooks and punches. Lomachenko was trying to be the Matrix, but he wasn't able to, you know what I'm saying, spin and turn him and be very, he wasn't so elusive. He was getting bullied a little bit. He was getting pushed around a little bit. You could see he looked small in there, which is kind of the normal when he's fighting in the 135. Norez was bigger than him. Luke Campbell was bigger than him. Lopez was bigger than him. And this guy Ortiz bigger than him. That one, now I could tell you dude was bigger than him. I don't think Richard Coleman is that big. But anyways, Lomachenko, 6th round, 7th round, he started to turn it over. You know what I'm saying? I think he was really, you know what I'm saying, getting into a groove, finding his, he was finding those open shots, and he was starting to just turn the gear, go up another level. And in the 8th round, Ortiz made an adjustment. You know what I'm saying? I think he was trying to switch to a little bit of southpaw, but I don't think he could hold down southpaw that long. Whenever he would switch into a southpaw, you could see the adjustments, but as soon as Lomachenko made the adjustments to him going southpaw, that issue with his eye was, you know what I'm saying, starting to catch up to him. So in the 8th round, Ortiz, I think that was kind of like his last, you know what I'm saying, his last hurrah. Like in the 8th round, he kind of made up, because the 6th and the 7th round was Lomachenko clear wins. The 8th round, Ortiz was like, you know, putting his guts out there, and he battled back, and he put on like a great performance in the 8th round. But after that, I felt like the 9th round, or you could see Ortiz just mentally checking out a little bit, physically checking out a little bit, and just not being as able to be creative. Lomachenko was sinking in some decent body shots finally, and the 9th round was like this, but it was starting to lean towards a Lomachenko. 10th round, 11th round, and 12th round, Lomachenko kind of closed the show. And to me, when you're talking about a championship fight, the championship rounds, they matter more. They carry more weight. They show the experience of a champion. You know what I'm saying? It separates the men from the boys. And Lomachenko, you know, his experience showed in the later rounds, in the championship rounds. You could see he left enough in the gas tank to where he could close the show, and it wasn't just what's the word, emphatic. I don't know if that's the word. I'm not good with using these words. You know, I know what I'm trying to say. The 11th and the 12th round, you could see Lomachenko was able to close the show. You know what I'm saying? He was able to put a stamp on his victory. And that's the difference in that Lopez fight. He took off the first 7 rounds. 8th round, 9th round, 10th round, 11th round, he started to put more of an offense onslaught on. But the 12th round, Lopez closed the show. So it made up for him giving up those few little rounds in the middle, because you can't remember every single thing and remember every single punch. Lopez took the first 7 rounds. Lomachenko maybe got the 8th, 9th round, maybe the 10th round, 11th round was close, but then Lopez definitely took the 12th round. So that's the final thought you're going to have in your head. You just give the whole thing to Lopez. He did enough, right? In this fight, it was much more back and forth activity. If you try to look blow for blow, round for round, some people going to hold it round for round. If you hold it round for round, I can see that fight going to Ortiz's way, because he took the first rounds. He got off to a better start. But in my opinion, you could see when he would fade. You could see when he would try to increase his intensity again, and then you could see when it faded and dipped back down. And you could see where I could see where Lomachenko experience and his class showed up. He just outclassed him in the last championship rounds, especially the 9th round and the 10th round. In the 11th round, the 12th round, he kind of took his foot off the gas pedal a little bit, and he closed the show with a little bit more defense wherewithal, but he still didn't let Ortiz back into the fight on the 12th round and steal the show. So, and that's my opinion, that's my thoughts. It was a good, competitive, close fight, and it was a kind of fight that you would want to see Lomachenko in going into a Devin Haney fight. Somebody young, strong, uh, and somebody that's not just, you know what I'm saying, starstruck and shell shocked. Since he had that, he was comfortable fighting Lomachenko because of sparring. I think he went into this fight just focused on his game plan, and he executed it almost to a victory. You know what I'm saying? So unless you was expecting to see a blowout, then you're going to easily give that fight to the underdog because you expected him to go in there and get dog walk. But since he came in there and put on a decent performance and made a account for himself and was a competitor, and it was a live dog, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't in there just getting embarrassed and getting dog walk. Then the fight could be like where he's like, oh, well, Lomachenko, he got beat by this. It depends on your perspective if you hear what I'm trying to say, but I'm telling you, my perspective was kind of neutral. I expected Lomachenko to win, but I didn't have any kind of expectations on what it would look like. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it looked like a comeback fight against a tough competitor who had some decent punches, decent snap on his punches, and he had some decent combinations, and he was fast. You know what I'm saying? Only thing he was missing to me a little bit was a onslaught on the body. Both of those guys was, but his showed up more. If he would have had Lopez attack Vasily Lomachenko body early, and his power, once Lomachenko took in that data of how much power he was looking at, and he said he downloaded and his body was able to register how Lopez punches felt. He didn't want to get hit in the body. You see him sitting there just trying to, he would dip his whole body back trying not to get hit. He wasn't taking a lot of body punishment from Ortiz. And that's the thing about it. He's going to register Devin Haney's speed, but Devin Haney doesn't have a lot of power. So it's going to be, it's still going to kind of split the difference. I still see Devin Haney, in my opinion, being victorious against Lomachenko, but I could not sit here and look at Lomachenko fight against Ortiz and then say that this is going to be an easy fight for Devin Haney, because an easy fight for Devin Haney is a George Kambosos, and Vasily Lomachenko against Ortiz, still, if you consider the time off and you consider the opponent, Lomachenko is better than George Kambosos, period. I think Lomachenko knocks out Kambosos. I think Lomachenko knock out Kambosos. So I think Lomachenko is going to improve a little bit more. Only so much, though, because he is older. I think we've seen the best of Lomachenko. But him fighting Devin Haney, I think he is going to level up and give his last hurrah. And I don't think it'll be enough to defeat Devin Haney. But I still think it's a close call. Devin Haney will have to be sharp, fast, strong. He won't be able to afford to make any miscalculations, because if he makes any miscalculations, he's going to get upset by Lomachenko. That's how I look at it. So as long as I see him laser focused, on point, ready to go, and he's turned over every single stone, crossed every single T, dotted every single I, and everything is on point, then I think he beats Lomachenko in a tough, gritty fight. But I don't see no domination there at all. I don't. You know what I'm saying? It'd be the fight of his life. But I think when he comes out victorious, that'll be the fight for me that'll kind of put Devin Haney on the highest level possible. And past that, the only person I would need to see him fight would be a Gervonta Tank Davis. Not necessarily Shakur Stevenson, although that I think that'd be a good fight. I still think that Gervonta Tank Davis would be the ultimate rival for Devin Haney, and vice versa. That's my thoughts. I think Lomachenko, I think he poses a threat to Devin Haney, and that was a good fight he just had. But time is not on his side. Time is on Devin Haney's side, and Devin Haney looks hungry and he looks aggressive, and he's just an intelligent, high ring IQ boxer. I think he'll be able to find a way to, break the matrix. You know what I'm saying? Decode the matrix. That's my thoughts. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Salute, salute, salute.